Earlier this year, in the middle of a COVID lockdown, I started to go a little bit funny. It was the middle of winter, and I had just blasted my way through replaying the Thief and System Shock games. Two great franchises, but I'm sure neither of them are too great for your brain during lockdown. After beating those, I decided maybe it was time to play something light and cheery. I mean, hey, as long as my civil liberties have been stripped away by the Australian government, I may as well be a bit cheeky and take a little holiday from the safety of my own apartment. I made some tropical drinks, cranked up my heater until it felt like Sudan, and chucked on Wii Sports Resort. Although I've had a Wii since launch day, Wii Sports Resort sort of passed me by back in 2009. At the time, I guess I was too busy doing this.
Stand up to me.
Just like regular Wii Sports before it, it's a collection of mini-games that I could picture just about anyone enjoying. The Wii had an absolute landfill of dog-shit minigame collections, but Wii Sports, Wii Play, and Wii Sports Resort were really all you needed. Usually each of these collections had a breakout game that ended up becoming the family favourite. Everyone loved bowling and golf on Wii Sports, and if you didn't like tanks on Wii Play, well, you aren't welcome at my house. As a man just catching up to Wii Sports Resort now, I think all these minigames are enjoyable in their own way. But in terms of a favourite, it's just not even a competition. I love the Island Flyover mode. I'm a big fan of this minigame and everything it stands for. While most of my other videos have had more of an informative or critical tone to it, today I'm just going to be spreading the good word of what a quality time this is. Island Flyover is a minigame where you control a biplane with the Wii Motion Plus. With a 5-minute time limit every time you take to the skies, the objective is to explore Wuhu Island, discover its many landmarks, and beat your own high score by popping balloons. There's not a whole lot to it, but let me tell you, the soul is off the charts with this one. It's Wii-era Nintendo doing what they did best. They'd take a simple gameplay concept to show off a new form of technology, then add a level of polish and charm to it that just dunked on something like carnival games. Wuhu Island is a big place, so finding every landmark in the game world is going to take you more than a few play sessions. And while this isn't exactly Dead Rising or Majora's Mask, the 5-minute timer does force you to plan your exploration a bit in advance. Maybe you want to explore the mainland of the island and its tiny populated town. You could explore the many caves, ruins, and trails that make up the back of Wuhu. You could even scan the seas for ferries, fishermen, and cruise ships before making the long journey over to the golf course island. Every play session has a little purpose to it, but it also gives you just enough wriggle room to investigate anything off course that catches your eye. It's a shame that the Wii couldn't have launched with this game as its pack-in title instead of the original Wii Sports. If your first taste of motion controls was flying around in a biplane instead of waggling a tennis racket, we'd probably talk about Wuhu Island in the same way we do with Peach's Courtyard or Kokiri Forest. And while controlling the plane with Wii Motion Plus is simple, intuitive fun, I think the real value of this mode is found in its presentation. Despite what you may have heard, Wuhu Island is not a real place. But thanks to the density of the island and its lively Mii population, Nintendo have made it feel like a real place. Aesthetically, it's like you've been shrunk down to explore this tiny diorama of an island resort. It's the perfect getaway spot, and the placement of the Miis helps us to envision what our own holiday on Wuhu could be like. These guys partying it up on the beach? That could be you. Wuhu Island is where every other Wii Sports Resort minigame takes place. So being able to zoom out and piece all these locations together really highlights the extra mile that Nintendo went for a collection of minigames. It'd be like if all the minigames in Mario Party took place in one connected world, and then Nintendo allowed you to go and explore that world for yourself. It's just the little things, you know? Fly over to the village at night and you can hear a guy playing his NES. Venture out to the back of the island during the day and you can see a huddle of boats patiently waiting to spot a whale. How did they accidentally build the lighthouse at twice its intended size? Who is this lonely canoeist, and how did he get so far from land? Who built the ancient ruins, and why is there a rock formation shaped like a pair of dinosaurs? Sure, we can talk about the slash marks on this tree, or this guy behind the bars till the cows come home, but let's face it, Wii Sports Resort has the deepest lore. Nintendo would eventually expand upon Island Flyover with Pilotwings Resort, a launch title for the 3DS back in 2011. In typical Pilotwings fashion, you control a few different kinds of aircraft and take part in a variety of challenges to test your flying skills. As far as launch titles go, it's not bad, but considering you can beat most of the challenges in an afternoon or so, Pilotwings Resort didn't score too well as a full-priced game back in the day. It could have been the perfect pack-in game for the 3DS, but I guess Nintendo knows a bit more about financial decisions than I do. The big killer for me though is the complete lack of me NPCs on the island. Wuhu Island is still fun to explore, but without these little guys populating the landscape, the scale model, Lego Island charm of the original Wii mode is pretty much gone. It's still a fun game to play on the dunny, or toilet for my American friends, but it falls short as an expansion to the original minigame and as a new Pilotwings game. So what's the point of making this video? I don't know. Blow it out your ass. In the past year, I've beaten a lot of classic games that were completely new to me. And while Island Flyover isn't exactly a proper game, it's easily some of the most fun I've had with a computer game this year. If you don't have your Wii hooked up or you've sold it for moon sugar, I found that emulating Wii Sports Resort with a dolphin bar worked almost perfectly. It's been a crap year for almost everyone. Almost everyone. But I know I'll fondly remember that weird night in the middle of winter, where I drank some fruity drinks and played Wii Sports Resort. As always, I want to say thanks to my mum and the boys for making it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks again, and I'll see you when I see you.